I love
A
it.
girl, a girl can dream. So I take these fake breaks every 15 minutes and then we're,
Yeah,
we're back and then we are live. So we're live on
I love it.
LinkedIn and on YouTube as well as on TikTok. So welcome to Queer Wednesday Wisdom. I have 4 shows running simultaneously. So if you hear me say the parent hour, just go with it. If you hear me say the Pride Corner, just go with it. If you hear me say Parents of Queers podcast, just go with it because it's all related. But welcome to another episode. It's Wednesday afternoon, so that means we are on Queer Wednesday Wisdom. Hi, Amor Fati. If you can hear my voice, give me a thumbs up or just say something or type in the comment section where you're joining us from. I'm outdoors in San Antonio, Texas, and it's a beautiful day. And even more beautiful is my guest today, Jen Self. First of all, is that your real last name,
That
Jen?
is my real last name. It is. Yes.
I have met the just most, I don't know, I'm already getting likes. Hi, Loyal. Hi, Carol. Hi, Loyal King. Welcome to the show. So the show is called Queer Wednesday Wisdom, a show that I just kind of created about a month or so ago during Pride Month because I was like, since I'm going to be on LinkedIn where all the people at the workplace are, why don't I do something that suits them, even though it's the same people that go home, but since LinkedIn is about workplace, so I said, let's just go to the workplace. How do we start conversations about queerness at the workplace?
Right.
How do you make your workplace a safe place for your coworkers who happen to be queer or may not even know what they are? Maybe they're questioning, maybe they're in the godforsaken closet, which I don't like to talk about. Who are these people and how do you make your workplace safe for them?
Mm.
And so Loyal King says, don't get smart with her. She don't play. Yeah, I generally do not play. If you bring homophobia, my name is not Michelle Obama. I do not go low when you go high when you go. I am down in the trenches with you, honey. Roll up my sleeves and let's get jiggy with it. If you can deal it, then you should be able to take it. And if you talk junk, I'll block you. Well, welcome to the show. So, my guest today is Jen, Dr. Jen Self, PhD, they, them pronouns. Oh my goodness. Jen, you gave me an amazing shout out on LinkedIn, and I'm still like reeling from that. And I got really famous with that. So, Jen, tell us who you are and why the heck would you be coming on a random show with a random lady on a random Wednesday afternoon to talk about queerness?
Oh my
What?
goodness. Well, I don't think you're random at all. I at all. So I've done a lot of things, but the most recently I was the I'm a former director of the University of Washington Q Center, which is the queer center or the sexuality and gender center there. And I was lucky enough to be hired in 2004 to found that with the students, and we created that as a center that was founded and through a racial justice framework. And I feel really excited and proud of that, and the students should too, because that's how it was founded and that's how it's still going. And I think that was probably the smartest thing that we did, because yeah,
So good, so good. So you are a PhD, so you're a doctor of what? Philosophy or
social work.
licensed clinical? So yes,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
the
yeah, you got it.
license. I saw that, and I was like LIC. I thought it was LCSW. And I was like LIC. Okay,
Yeah,
so is it
right,
two ways you can write it?
right.
LIC and LC.
Yes, right. In the state of Washington, it's licensed independent clinical social worker.
Oh,
Yeah,
independent.
yeah,
Oh, I thought it was LIC for license. Look
mhm,
at that.
yeah.
You learn something new every day. Thank you so much, Loyal King. I appreciate the loves and the likes. And if you have any questions for my guests, please feel free to just ask the questions. We will make sure that we get them to you. Usually, we're not winging it, but we're talking very serious stuff, and it's totally unrehearsed. So the show can go anywhere. A lot of times we end up in the front doors of trauma for obvious reasons. But you know what? You never know. So welcome, 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 Charlie Who 1970. Welcome to the show. So I have to go back and say, why did you decide to come on the show today,
Right.
Jen?
Well, I mean, I started seeing you on LinkedIn and started seeing what you were writing about, and I loved your stuff. I loved how you were talking to folks and how you were talking about your own experience, and really putting out there the importance of talking about queerness and youth and race all in one. And that so few, I think, I see so few professionals actually really speaking to all the intersections of that, of those complications around being a person who is Black and queer and young
And
and
African,
and
not just
African,
Black, not
right?
just
Black,
Black, but
queer,
Nigerian.
African, right? All of those things, and how critical it is to look at all of those aspects of a person, and when they're developing. And I just was excited about what you had to say, so I was like, oh, I really like this person. I'm going to follow them, and I've just been excited ever since. So I wanted to talk to you.
Yes, and we are here. And believe it or not, welcome, Matthew. Hi, sweetheart. So, believe it or not, the show is like this, very lightweight, very fun, I think, even as we talk about fucked up stuff. So, my old life, I talked only about youth suicide prevention. And I think I met this guy the other day, and he asked me a question that was so deep. He said, how do you refill your cup?
Mm.
And I actually started crying. I was like, oh my goodness, you're right. How do I refill my cup? Like, it is traumatizing, it's re-traumatizing talking about fear and pain and shame and guilt. And a lot of times it's for no fault of yours. Society makes you want to hide in shame. And it's just like, how do you not hurt when you talk about that? How do kids not jump when the most important person in their life, the most influential person in their life tells them they don't exist? Don't bring that here. Don't, you can be gay over there, but don't, things like that. How do you not hurt? And so I actually to myself, I actually, went out on a date with you. I told the gentleman, I said, because you said that. Because I said, this is a person this is a sensitive human being. And he's a Black man. I said, coming from a Black man, I really wanted to know more about you. So coming from a white, I'm going to say cis appearing, you know what I mean? Like for you, Jen, if I walk in the room, I'm not going to know, I don't know your gender identity without asking, but without you saying if you have a pin. So just with that, for you to put me out like that, I was really like, oh my goodness, I have arrived officially, because we need voices like you, as you know. We need these kinds of voices to open the doors for us and hold it open until we are all in. So thank you so much for coming on the show. It is 1:08. We're going to take our first question. If you have any questions, hi, Matt. If you have any questions, please let us know. So my first question to you is, how did you get involved in starting this center? Which, by the way, I need to come and speak at that center, okay?
You absolutely do. You absolutely do. I'm not there anymore, but
Oh.
I left at the beginning of the pandemic. It was my plan all. Well, okay. Let me start at the beginning about how I got involved. I mean, I've been involved in activism around queerness really since I was young. Since I went to college myself.
It's almost funny, like you said that, because almost every single queer person, by default, is an activist in some, or at least an advocate.
Right.
Or an agitator, like I like to say. But it's almost like you're born into this space and you have to fight the entire time. So you might as well just,
right.
So I'm not surprised you're saying this at all. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you're welcome. I mean, I grew up in a small town, Merlin, Oregon, which was 503 people when I was there. And so it was also racially pretty homogenous, and so, I grew up around a lot of people who looked like me, but I knew that I was nothing like anybody around me, whether that was politically or gender-wise or my sexuality, and I didn't really have a lot of great language around justice or what that meant. I felt it. I felt like I wanted that, but I didn't know what it meant. And I was just being raised up into white supremacy without even really understanding it or knowing it. And also raised up into really learning to hate myself before I even knew that I was queer. And so by the time I could get out of there, at the age of 18, I had already developed so much shame about myself. And the way I chose to get out of there was to become an athlete and get a basketball scholarship. So I got out of there and went to Berkeley and played basketball for Cal. and and when I went to Cal, I really had the experience of meeting people from all over the world, and then play basketball with all of these women who were Black. And I had this opportunity to talk with them about race and their experiences being Black in America, and my experience being queer. And that really just shattered my life, because it broke open my own, my own ignorance around race, and it broke open my shame around who I was. And I had, I had really built up a lot of so much self-hatred that I was suicidal, and all of those things, right?
I knew you were going there.
Right.
Come sit next to me, okay?
Yeah,
Come
right.
sit next to me and warm up the seat for me. I actually was actively suicidal. So
Right.
I feel you. And so obviously trigger warning. This is the thing about queerness at the workplace. You never know who is sitting next to you at the interview desk. You never know who is sitting next to you in your cubicle. And so when you say certain things, be careful, because you don't know what's going to trigger the person. Like literally, when I walk in the room, you don't see, there go that lady who has fibromyalgia, or there go that lady who has been suicidal. You
Right.
can't see that until I tell you my story. So I am also learning. I know this is weird, but I'm also unlearning and then learning about who I am now at 50 something. I'm
Yes.
learning that.
Yes.
Wow. So that's what was going on with me then. Ooh, I had a very close family member who, you know, we kind of, I guess, suspect. I think she even acted on it, on being a lesbian. I was the loudest voice, crucify her, crucify her.
Yeah.
Me,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised at all that, obviously I don't know, how deep yours were, but my own internalized homophobia was like,
Yeah.
it was bad.
Yeah, it was deep. It was deep. It was so deep that when I went to visit Berkeley on my visit with the coaches, I asked them. I had heard all these rumors about Cal and how many lesbians they had on the team. I asked them in my private visit with the coach, I've heard you've had I heard you had problems with lesbians here. Can you tell me about it? I'm really worried. Like my private visit with the coach, right? I'm acting out all this homophobia,
Mm-hmm.
even though I knew at that point that I was queer, and but I was just, I was just acting it out.
Yeah.
So I made a decision, at about 18, 19, that I didn't want anybody going through what I had gone through. And also that I knew that a lot of people who looked like me were the only ones who were thought to be LGBTQ. That there was a lot of misinformation about people who were queer, that it was thought to be just people who were white. Because I started talking about it, and everybody would say, oh, well, there aren't any Black queers. There aren't any people like that in Africa. There aren't any people like that in. I was like, this is not true, because
Thank you for
everybody
bringing
I
that up.
knew who was queer, everybody I knew who was queer was BIPOC. Everybody, right? So I was like,
Thank you for
this is
going
not
there,
true.
because I'm African and I'm here to tell you that even today in Africa, let me just put it as I usually don't use Africa as a, because that's like saying in America.
Right.
But even today in Africa, let's go there because we can. Maybe there's maybe one or two countries. I think maybe South Africa, maybe is the one single country that even acknowledges that queer folks exist, and it's they're protected species. Every other African country says is a white man's ideology, is a white man's thing. We are not gay. And I want to hold that thought so we can go on break and come back so we can continue talking about this ideology that Black people are not queer. And I would really like us, and this is why I say the conversation goes any direction that it chooses to go. The Holy Spirit of queerness just guides it and it goes whichever way. So we're going to be right back. The show is called Queer Wednesday Wisdom. Hi, TikTok. What's going on, y'all? The show is called Queer Wednesday Wisdom. My guest today is Jen. They, them pronouns. I didn't even really ask your gender, but maybe we'll come back. We'll talk about that. But we're gonna continue the conversation when we come back from break. So get your water, share the show, tell someone about it. Join us every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central. We'll be right back. Jen, I'm gonna get you. And we are back. And we are back from the break. And so the show is called Queer Wednesday Wisdom. We're here every single Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m. Central. You can find us on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and of course on TikTok. Usually, we're talking about queerness as it concerns the workplace. Why? Because the idea came up to me on LinkedIn, but really, it's queerness, period. And today, my guest is talking about something really sensitive that I have not even discussed with African Americans. Well, first of all, I can't get them to come on my show for obvious reasons. So I can't find enough of them who will raise their hands. And then when they do not want to come. So you know what? We have to have the conversations. We have to normalize it. And I'm very thankful and very proud that I've been chosen by the universe to be one of the faces. I don't think I'm the only face, but to be one of the faces, especially one of the female faces, and more so one of the female African faces, and then female African mom of a trans child. I used to be the child, and then today I'm the parent. So why not do this work? Like, who else? Who am I waiting for?
Yeah.
Isn't that what activism is about? Like, you can't wait for the next person to do it. You have to, right now, do it while you can. And so having a voice, being able to have one, having an audience is, for me, the utmost importance right now in the queer space. So thank you so much, Jen, for coming and for sharing with us. So we were talking before we went on break about the almost huge lie, because that's what it is. It's an untruth about queerness in the BIPOC population, particularly in the Black community. I mean, we just saw in the last week or so, Singapore just finally acknowledged that there's gay sex. Now, this is not even marriage, because it was just, they accepted that there's same gender sex, which right. I was okay with that because I've been to Singapore and I was like, Singapore is so nice, except, but still my problem with most people is why focus on the sex? The thing about it is queer folks are normal people. They have toothaches, they have a migraine, they have a cat called Susan. You know, they have heart attack. I mean, they are normal people. Their cars their tires go down in their cars. I mean, what are your thoughts about the fact that, okay, we'll come back to the other thing, but you know, my brain is ADHD, but what are your thoughts about the fact that people do look at you and just see, oh, what you're doing in bed? What are your thoughts about that? And how do you think that plays a role in the queer narrative today? Oh my God,
yeah. I you know, that word lifestyle always gets tossed at us.
Oh
right?
God, yes.
I know, right? I always say, yeah, my lifestyle is I eat soup on Wednesday.
I don't wear glasses.
And
I'm on a low carb diet.
I know, right? I play pickleball, which is whatever. So I mean, that's my lifestyle. So that's been a tough one my whole life. And in fact, I think that I've had, again, that's another place I've had so much shame, is around my own sexuality and sex. And that's something I've had to really unlearn in my life, because I've just taken that in so deeply. And then around my gender too, allowing folks to look at me and decide who I get to be based on their understanding of who I am. And it is painful, because there's no controlling what other people do with that. As much as I've spoken back to that, as much as I've educated, and I've educated thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people in my life, and you know, as much as I've done that, those narratives are still there. They're still pervasive, and folks are still asking those questions about what we do in bed. It
Yes.
still just comes right down to that. And
Yes, and usually, like I said, I just give them back. I say, well, when I see you and your wife walking down the street, would you really like for me to only think about how good or not good you are in bed?
right,
I mean,
right,
how much more narrow-minded can you get
yep,
than that?
yeah,
But you know what? Say all you want. We have, unfortunately, Christianity, and I'm not afraid to say this, Christianity, and of course, other Abrahamic religions are really heavy on
yep,
that. And sadly, that narrative is, like you said, so pervasive that even just innocent 5-year-old kids, you show them two Ken dolls and they look at you funny, like,
right,
why, where's the Barbie? You know?
right,
Dude, you're 5. You're
yep.
5.
Well, if I really want to make white people mad, then I really start talking about how colonization is really the reason for, why we have this whole idea that that sex is the most important thing. The colonization really erased so much of tradition, not this idea of gender as being this binary that comes from colonization, and the erasure of sexualities that comes from colonization. So then I get white people's ire up, but that's okay. I like getting I like getting white people's ire up.
Pero es verdad, but it is true.
Yeah.
And I like that you brought that up and not me, because my language is Igbo. I am Igbo.
Mm-hmm.
In the Igbo tribe, we only have they, them pronouns.
Right.
Okay? We
Right.
only have they, them pronouns. So indigenous languages
Yeah.
have not evolved, because where are you evolving to? We don't have male female. Now there are some Nigerian languages that have male female. I speak 9 languages. French has male female, Spanish has male female, but Igbo, my tribe, and I'm so proud, doesn't. And if you go into the Harvard Chronicles, which Chimamanda Adichie found out, which, even though she has her own issues, but she was the one that said, once upon a time in Igbo land, women took wives. Now, we don't know what they were. And then, of course, people are trying to argue, well, they took the wives to their husband. Duh, how can they take the wife for their husband? But, you could call it what you like. Acknowledge first that they took wives.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. That's right. Acknowledge that. Right.
Yes. And unfortunately, this colonialism, whatever, is so like the two-spirit, just like you were saying, the two-spirit people, they were the ones, they came with that negative energy about two-spirits, how they should be, driven out of their communities. And it's just now that people are talking more about DEI. So do you think it has to do with maybe post-COVID? Because pre-COVID, I was not on LinkedIn. Post-COVID, I was not on LinkedIn. I only came on LinkedIn in March of this year because my Facebook was hacked. And my Facebook and my Instagram were connected. So about 15,000 followers later, they were all gone. So I was like, you know what? I'm just too pained to go back and start back. I'm just going to go somewhere else, which is what I did. That's my kid actually calling. So what are your thoughts about the fact that I forgot what I was saying because my kid came and I got distracted. Do you remember what I was saying?
You were asking me about pre-COVID, post-COVID, and being
pre-COVID and post-COVID. This whole idea of DEI. When did it come to the forefront? When? Because I'm just learning.
Yeah. Well, I mean, DEI has been around. This idea of diversity and equity and inclusiveness, which we can have a conversation about what all that means, has been around for a long time. But, I think that there's an argument about who's jumping on board right now. And I think in the US, post the murder of George Floyd.
Yes. That's why I said I chose to say post-COVID.
Yeah.
Because again, I don't want it to be obvious. Well, she's a Black woman. Of course, she's going to bring up George Floyd. But you and I know what I meant by post-COVID.
Yes, for sure. And I think a lot of, of course, a lot of the corporations that are doing this work are doing it to signal nothing, right?
Lip service,
To signal nothing.
Just like June
Yeah.
Everybody has a flag because they want your money. Everybody
Yeah.
has a banner because they want your money. Everybody wants, but after June, that's when you really know who is what. Because I've been watching LinkedIn.
Yeah.
It's like June 30th,
Yeah. Yeah.
no more talking about this.
Yeah. And then there are the consultants who've been doing this for years and years and years, and primarily BIPOC consultants who've been doing this work for years, and have been underpaid, and
Yes.
have been used by companies, and have gone without adequate pay for years, and are still doing this work, and are maybe now getting paid well, some of them, but still are getting underpaid a lot, because there are more white practitioners in the field now. And what I would argue is that white practitioners who go in the field, one, we should not be doing this without partnering. We should always be partnering with
like
BIPOC folks.
Mm-hmm.
And two, we need to be more open about what we're getting paid, and share that information across the board, and make sure that folks are getting paid
Equity,
across the board, and not take jobs without knowing that, and then sharing that information. And I just think there's a lot that's going wrong in this field, and hold companies to their work, not just take these one-offs and say, oh yeah, we'll do a one-off for you, but we're not, and then like check the box and say you did it. But really hold companies to actually doing some work, and changing their culture, and changing their policies and their practices and the procedures, so that they're actually implementing equitable changes. Because a lot of this is just, like I said, it's just lip service.
Lip service, which is really unfortunate. But thank you for bringing it, because but I just hadn't thought about that recently, about the fact that now there are more white. It's like anywhere we go, then they just kind of rush in, and then they take over, and then you don't really know who is in there for the right reason, who is there just as a figurehead, who is there to actually make a difference and then how, because I don't know, did you see, was it you that posted something about getting paid? Was it you that posted something about getting paid today?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Okay, someone posted on LinkedIn, and I shared it, about getting paid, about BIPOC people really getting paid in the DEI space. Mm-hmm. That's one. And then, but also there's just this whole idea that getting paid, it's like, I'm going to pay you whatever I think. At least be happy you're getting paid.
Oh, right.
Which is why I changed my pronouns on LinkedIn.
To pay. I was wondering about that. Yeah, I saw that.
I was like, listen,
yes.
I don't care if it's LinkedIn or not, because recently it happened to me. I had a lady call me from a university, a women's university. They said that they're so happy. Oh my God, they're so excited to find me, because they want me to come and talk about advocacy for transgender youth as a mom and all this. And she knew all of this. And she was like, oh, but unfortunately we don't pay. I was like, what do you mean you don't pay? I said, ma'am, do you get paid at your job?
Yeah.
She said, yes. I said, okay, this is my source of living. She said, well, I mean, I know you charge for your coaching, but I just didn't know you charge for speaking. I said, well, now you know. So here's what we're going to do. Why don't y'all, holler at me when you're ready? She said, well, do you know anyone who would do it for free? I'm like, no, I don't know anyone who is a physician and a mom. I don't know anyone who has my credentials.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No.
That was the day I changed my pronouns. I was like, you know what? I'm done.
Yeah, no kidding. It is ridiculous,
yeah.
the amount of times that people get asked to do that for free. Yeah. And it's astounding to me. Yeah.
And my youngest son, who is the only one at home now, says, Mom, if you were a white man, because I was like, I'm just tired of these people just wanting me to speak for free. And he said, Mom, if you were a white man, how much would it? I said, dude, if I was a white man,
yeah,
I would, he would not be the one asking them,
no,
no, why the need for that, whatever. So I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah.
So, but we're going to go on the second break as we're at the bottom of the hour. This is such a good conversation. Thank you so much, Jen, for just making time for us, for coming to share your wisdom, the wealth of wisdom. I had not thought about the fact that Oh my God, I just never thought about that. I think to me, that's my big takeaway from today is that the fact that there are lots of white people in the, and there's nothing wrong with that, but they need to partner.
Yeah.
And then they
Yeah.
need to be about equity for, and bringing, like I said at the beginning, open the door and hold it, hold the door. So we'll be right back. The show is Queer Wednesday Wisdom. We're talking about just attitudes, behaviors at the workplace, about queerness, and how I guess we're going to talk about how you should ask for what you're worth. If you're BIPOC, even if you're not queer, just ask for what you're worth already, and be not afraid to ask for what you're worth, and be ye not afraid to, and stop maybe being so happy that you're called to speak. I want you to celebrate being able to be paid for what you're asking, because today's money is not yesterday's money. So we're going to be right back. The show is called the Queer Wednesday Wisdom. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, Jen. Woo,
Mhm.
so good.
Absolutely.
Hi, Eddie Salazar. Welcome to the show. And so we're back. The show is called Queer Wednesday Wisdom. We're
Mhm.
back from break, and we're speaking with Jen, who is just, I didn't know any, obviously I didn't know. I mean, you meet people on social media and that's it. I never heard you speak. I didn't know anything. I hope that you get like a TED talk or something, because that point you made is an idea worth spreading. You see, that's the thing. I just got my third TED talk today, and I decided
Yes.
during 2020, yes, 2020, I said I want to. My lockdown legacy was going to be 4 TEDx talks, 4, but
Nice.
I was like, you know what, 4, 5. Why not just do
Fine. I'm
5?
doing fine, man.
And so today I heard back from TEDx Eustis that I made the second round. So I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that I'll get. But regardless, I'm just saying the whole idea is we all talk about stuff. Every time you say something and someone says, that's an idea worth spread. That's a TED talk. That's my
Okay.
secret anyway.
Okay. All right.
So what I'll do for you, because I think you should talk about that, is I'm going to send you a few that I have in my bank.
Oh,
Just apply.
thank
Just
you.
just apply. That's what I've done. That's how I get everything. I stopped being afraid, and I'm like, I'm just gonna do it afraid. The worst thing is gonna be I don't get in. Okay, next. No is no, but no also means next one or next
Oh, I like
opportunity.
that. I like that
Yeah.
a lot. I like that.
And that's not an original. I didn't make it up, but I heard it, in the circles while I've been learning. I'm just like, yeah, next one,
Mhm.
next one. And as much as possible, as much as I want you to, like, I don't know, for instance, if you're like my date, as much as I want to, be your girlfriend, if you don't want me, then I don't want it. I don't want you. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yes.
don't want to go speak somewhere where they don't even like really appreciate me.
Hmm.
And so just talking about, just, being paid for what you're worth. So thank you for bringing that topic up. So as we go into the third quarter of the show, hi, Rebel Savbini, welcome to the show. And so as we go into the third phase, what is a day like one day like in the life of Jen Self, in your licensed clinical worker, independent clinical social worker
Right.
work, and also bringing it back to the workplace. How much, and I don't know where you work, I don't know anything about that, which is we're
Mhm.
going to find out now.
Yeah.
How much on a daily basis are you doing educating folks? Because I know you already told us, but how
Right.
does your job as a licensed clinical social worker and a queer one, and are you non-binary? Because I didn't know. Is it
I
non-binary?
am. I am
And
non-binary. Yes.
and then and how all of that? How does that come to work on any given day? What face do you bring?
Yes. Great. Well, I do a lot of different things. So I do clinical work. I work with mostly young people between like 15 and 35. It's just kind of the age group that I've always worked with. Um, so I do that work, and mostly queer folks, all kinds of queer folks. Um, so my queerness comes to bear on that all the time.
Good.
Um, and then I do justice work, and I partner. I'm part of a collective that's called the Equity Institute, and that's made up of mostly BIPOC educators who are mostly out of K through 12 in the Pacific Northwest, Puget Sound region. And I met all of those folks when the pandemic started, one of the women I had been following for a long time on social media, Erin Jones, has a pretty big following, and I had been following her and I really loved how she teaches, and she just really spoke to me. And then I saw then George Floyd was murdered, and I was watching how she just shared a lot about what was going on with her family and her daughter, and how this was impacting her, and she's she's one of those leaders who's very charismatic and has all of these people around her. And I just thought, people like that often don't have people who are supporting them because they're so charismatic. Everybody thinks, oh, they've got tons of people. They're really being supported. And so I reached out to her, and I just said, Erin, we've met a couple times. I want you to know I've got all of these skills in training, and I see how much you're doing right now. Put me to work for you. I not for pay, I know you need some support right now. Put me to work. And she took me up on it. And so I did some volunteer work with her, and then she brought me into this equity collective. And I feel so lucky because I've met all of these folks, and they've become part of my work world. And it's been kind of an amazing shift in my work, where I now have this community of people that helped me shift out of the university work and into community. And then I just partner with all of these folks doing work with organizations. So I get to do organizational work and individual work, which is really nice.
I definitely need you on my court, because this is actually what my dream is, to do more corporate work. And yes, I totally get it. I don't mind starting with volunteer either. I know I have a lot to learn because I'm a physician. I'm very, very good at putting an IV in a 28-weeker.
Yeah,
that's my jam. People look at me like, but I could do that with my eyes closed. I can put an IV on any child. I don't care how they're kicking and screaming. I got it.
Yeah.
But this work is new for me. Besides being a mother and a queer person myself, and I used to be a queer child, I had just learned in 2020, as you're going to hear my next upcoming TED Talk, what non-binary was. I just heard the term. My ex-wife, I keep forgetting, my ex-wife, and I was like, what is that? And we're in our 50s. So, and I am very open to learning. So I'm definitely going to connect with you after all of this is over. I would love, I don't know if it's any extends across borders, if Texas or whatever, but I'm happy to definitely connect with you. But aside from that, do you feel like attitudes are indeed changing? Do you feel like people are indeed morphing? Are they absorbing the information that you're giving to them? Are they learning? Are they unlearning? Do you think?
It's such a weird time in this country, because I think that it's sort of like, I always think about it like tectonic plates. Like, there are a lot of people who are shifting this way and learning so much, and then there are others who are shifting this way.
Oh my goodness, you nailed it.
Right?
There's never been more anti-LGBT warfare.
Yeah.
And yet, on the other hand, there's more people saying, I don't care. More people are coming out in their droves, like, okay, oh, I am queer, oh, I'm binary, people are like, okay, you can't kill some of us, but you can't kill all of us. I mean, as an example.
Right.
More people are coming out. The more the governors, the Dukakis or whatever his name is, are digging their heels in, and the one from Texas over here. I mean, the more they do it, the more people are, like now, and I know you know this, 7.1% of adults in America identify as queer. Yeah. Now that 7.1%, it was 3.5 in 2012. So in exactly 10 years, it's doubled. But more than that, that's only those who raise their hands.
That's right.
Many more, scores more, will never. Because they are also the biggest homophobes.
That's right. That's right.
Sadly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. What an amazing conversation. So how can the people follow your work, support you? How can they find you,
Well, you can find me on LinkedIn, so I'm there, Dr. Jen Self. You can also find me at Brick 13 is the name of my company,
Mm.
um, and it's so those are the two places to find me, and mostly I am the content that I put out is mostly on LinkedIn and on TikTok. So those are the places I'm doing content, and
Well, tell us your TikTok, because this is TikTok right here on my phone. So tell us your TikTok
Oh
handle.
gosh. Oh gosh, what am you just asked me to remember my TikTok handle.
God have mercy.
And my old brain just like went
That's it. It
in a
happens with
second
me
I'll
too.
remember it, but I
Yeah. Or maybe at midnight tonight. I'll be like, yeah, that's what it was.
it just went out of my head.
Yeah. I am just so honored that you decided and chose, because that was a choice, to come. And maybe this is the beginning of many more. Who knows? I never believe our stories are told in one sitting. There's always more to talk about. But what would you say, therefore, as we kind of round up and go into the maybe last quarter, maybe not? What would you say to someone who is at work right now, sitting down, just minding their business, typing on their laptop? What would you say is the first thing that they can do to get the new person who may or may not be queer to feel like they belong? What would be the first thing?
Really, it's so much about all of this is really being willing to listen to another person's experience and believe them.
Mm.
So
Oh,
so so
mm,
often, so often
mm.
we just say, no, that can't possibly be true.
You nailed it.
Right? Yes, believe them. Believe that it's true because it is true. What they're telling you is true.
I'm so happy you said believe them. My ABCDEF, my ABCDE plus of accepting your LGBTQ plus child. A is acknowledge. B is believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Believe them. They
Yeah.
have no reason in today's political climate. No one wants to be gay, queer, trans. Trust me,
Yeah.
it's so much easier to just remain not gay. Okay? So when somebody dares to go there, what do you think they have to gain besides that it's the truth?
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Believe them.
Awesome. What about employers? So that's for the coworker, the cubicle next to you. Believe
Yeah.
them. And I was also going to say, as far as being an ally, maybe we can stay at the coworkers for a minute. What can coworkers do with or without knowing me? Like when I walk in the room, you don't say, "Oh, there go that queer girl," because I'm a feminine femme all day.
Right.
Long dresses, short dresses, skirts. One of the people that still wear skirts. So, but what would that next coworker, what would they do to become an ally? Period. Because believe them means I've shared.
Right.
Before I share, when I walk in my first day at work, is there anything? I mean, of course, there may or may not be anything. I mean, what would you say to the person who's just like, okay,
Well, I think we have had enough information in this country and in the world to know that queer people exist. So I think everybody could just educate yourselves a little bit enough to know that we can do things like that, simple things like not assume that everybody is queer, and by doing that, I mean not everybody's straight. Sorry, and
yes, yeah, I knew that's what you meant. Yeah.
so by doing that, we can do things like not ask people who their husbands are, and do things like he or she or they, and we can change our language really simply. It's not tough, and it doesn't hurt us to do things like that, and it makes an incredible difference in the way that folks feel in a workplace when we do that. It opens doors that feel closed. That
Very subtle
it's
too.
very
Yeah,
it's very subtle stuff, and
subtle, a
and
little
we
bit.
are scanning, man. We are looking for anything that can tell
Yes,
us that
to
we're
lean
safe.
in. Yes, lean
So-
in. And one of the things I say is, if whether your religion accepts it or not, whether you like it or not, I bought 150 of these. They're on my laptop, so I can't show it to you because I'm using my laptop. But these little safe space stickers,
yeah.
just put one.
Yes. Right.
And
I
if you
always
really want to push it, put a tiny little flaggy
yes.
flag. Yeah, because the truth is, they say be careful who you hate because it might be someone you love. That's
Yeah,
a true statement. Like it may be your kid. You're gonna need me
that's right.
to counsel you or give you some kind of counsel when, not if, when your kiddo says, Mom, guess what?
Yeah,
So and so, you know who was such, that's not my best friend. That's my boyfriend
yeah,
or girlfriend.
that's right.
You never know. So yeah, yeah. I love that. The little things. That was very, very, very good. So what about employers? What about employers? The ones that actually tell you, okay, you're hired. What can they do? Same
Yeah.
thing, yes,
I
yeah.
mean, I think it's a lot of the same stuff. I mean, and also to make sure their policies are in line.
Mhm.
Things like places that don't have. I know that domestic partnership benefits are um, different because we now have marriage, but marriage is under attack. So, but domestic partnership benefits can still be a thing. Those can still be a thing for people who are unmarried. That could still be a thing that you could fight for. Also, having things that are like trans inclusive healthcare and having things, simple things like restrooms available. These are not difficult things that we can create for our employees. Um,
So say those three things again for those at the back, because I know, wow. So trans inclusive healthcare, huge because I'm a mother of a trans child.
yeah.
Oh my goodness, co-ed restrooms. I saw
Yes.
someone, I think it was somebody Slack on LinkedIn that posted, about the gender inclusive restrooms. When you were growing up at home, your freaking restroom was gender inclusive, was called
Yes.
it at the end. And then at the plane and on the train, your restrooms are, and yet what?
No, I saw that thing from Kamau Bell. Kamau Bell said that a couple of years ago. He's like, I don't know, at home, my daughter and I go to the restroom in the same place. I don't know. It works
Same restroom. I tell you.
there. Yeah.
Whoa, it has been amazing. And so, as we turn around to the last quarter, we're going to take our last break and we'll be back and say goodbye to our guest today. Hope you all have learned something. We got one person watching. Hi, how are you? Just let us know who you are if you have any questions. Rebel Samvini, thank you so much. So, we're going to go on our last break and we'll be right back with the incredible Jen Self. Oh my God, Jen.
So good. I remember my TikTok now.
You were not going to escape that. Hi,
No.
hello. Thank you so much for the 1,000 likes. So amazing. Thank you all so much. So, we're going to go into our last quarter of the show. And so, we are joined by Jen Self, who is an activist. Thank you so much, Jen, who sees that the need for BIPOC equity and equality at the workplace and even at home and wherever you are. So loving because we need the cis appearing white women, aka Karen.
Mm-hmm.
We need them to open that door and hold it open. So you were talking before we went on break, three things that they could do, subtle things, trans inclusive healthcare, domestic partnership coverage, I think is that what you called it?
Yes.
And then what was the third thing?
The bathrooms, restrooms. So
Yes, and the restrooms.
right.
Little things that employ, and thank you for that because I'm stealing it. I'm pitching a talk. So for some government something today, and I'm going to use those three. So that's why I had to say that so I remember.
Great.
The restrooms, the domestic partnership coverage, and trans, or even not trans, gender non-conforming.
Yes, gender nonconforming coverage. Great.
So that
Thank
so
you.
that they don't say, well, Dr. Lulu, she said
Yeah,
trans, so we're
that's
going to deny.
right. Good point.
Because some people
Gender,
are so
yes.
like,
Gender
yes,
affirming care.
gender non-conforming.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
Which we all are. If you look at the fact that we all have male and female energy, so we're all really, truly gender non-conforming. And when I really want to get people to get upset, I say, oh, and by the way, God is non-binary, so God is probably
There you go.
LGBT, and God is definitely a they, them, for sure. Or we should create, or maybe GG, because really God, ideally, if they exist, should not have anybody else's pronoun. So
Right.
God is GG, something like that. But I just go there to get them. Oh my God, blasphemy. Yes, blasphemy. If God truly created me in their image and likeness, and God is a woman, and that means if you think he's a man, then God is non-binary or
Not as
something.
non-binary. That's
At
right.
the very least, yes. I have a book coming out that's titled "What If God Is Non-Binary?" Actually,
Nice.
one of my books is coming out. So anyway, as we go home, it has been amazing. Jen, what going away thoughts do you have for anybody, either the queer person at the workplace? How should they also conduct themselves? Because that's one of the things that we forget. There's an environment, there. If you are not feeling welcome, what should you do? Or if you're feeling welcome, or what should you do if you're a queer person at the workplace? As we kind of say goodbye to today's amazing conversation.
Boy, that I think that is such a difficult question, right? Because it's a little bit like hopscotch in this country, like what state you're in, how safe you are, and then even what city you're in each state. So I mean, it's hard to and then who you are. So like I can be different than someone who is Black in the state of Washington who's also queer. I mean, so it's so difficult to answer that question like uniformly. So I often think about like what privilege do I have as a white queer person in the places that I work, and what can I leverage that can move things forward for queer people and for queer BIPOC folks that maybe folks feel like they can't leverage in a like when I was working at the university system. How can I leverage my privilege to open spaces that weren't open for BIPOC folks, and then get out of the way, which is what I did.
Move, bitch, get out the way. And there's a whole song about that. Love it. Yes. So and then get out of there. That's why I said open the door but hold it. But you gotta move so I can come in.
That's right. You gotta get out of the
way. Yes. Wow. Thank you so much, Jen. Oh my God. I hope y'all learn a lot. Thank you so much, Jen. This has been so good. So as first says that we have a comment, but I don't see the comment. I guess somebody left a comment. Oh, we have had a bunch of people watching this whole time. Jasmine Hutchkins, I'm learning it. I'm so sorry. Diana Alucio, Carla Goldberg said, preach it. Oh my God, we've had a bunch of, I'm so sorry, y'all. And I think Carla was talking to you when you said something, because she just typed it a minute ago. So she said, preach it. And I think it's when you were saying about, get out of the way.
Yeah.
And Carla, thank you so much. I'm going to pin that comment. I'm sorry, I did not know. I'm learning. Oh my goodness. And then we had someone from Bedford, New York, and then someone from Portland, USA. This is so good. Thank you all so much for joining. This is my favorite one. Preach it. But yeah, so the show is called Queer Wednesday Wisdom. I'm all up in your face every Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m. Central, because somebody has to. And we are on LinkedIn and on YouTube. So if you're not following me, please find me on YouTube at Dr. Lulu Talk Radio. On LinkedIn, you know me already, Dr. Lulu, I think. My first name is Uchenna, then Dr. Lulu, then my last name Ume, because LinkedIn is messy. They say you cannot just use your nickname. I was like, it's a registered trademark. So that's why I put the registered trademark sign. I said, there. You happy now?
Can I do that?
And also on TikTok, I'm on TikTok at Dr. Lulu Talk Radio. But now Jen's memory came back. So Jen, what is your TikTok handle?
I am a queer Jedi. Queer Jedi.
I need to follow you. I need to find you and follow you.
Okay.
Find me, send me a message or something so I can follow you. Okay. So good. Thank you so much for coming. Carla says how all the states are. Oh, that's what she was talking about. How all the states are different too. That's what she was referring to.
Yeah.
And Carla, please let me know your pronouns so I don't say the wrong thing. I'll just use they. So that's what they were referring to. So thank you so much about when Jen said, depending on where you are, what state, what city in the state. Yeah, so true. But ultimately, what my TEDx talk, what I'm saying is to the queer person, your life has never been defined by walls of a closet, by closet walls. So own your shit. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say shit on TEDx. I'm going to have to find out. And if I'm not allowed to say that, I'm going to say, so take your power back.
Yeah.
You reserve the right to invite anyone you choose into your rainbow world. This is my TED Talk. I'm practicing. Into your rainbow world. And if you don't remember anything, remember this. Number one, you are worthy of love. Number two, you have value. And number three, you are enough just the way you are. So those three things, that's part of my TEDx talk. Stand by. It's going to be awesome.
Nice.
Jen, I want to invite you. Okay, yeah. Carla says her pronouns are she. Carla, thank you so much for interacting. This is so good. So, Jen, I'm going to definitely invite you to come if you like to come to my virtual listening audience. Otherwise, the tickets have gone for sale. It is TEDx Farrot Park. It's in Lima, Ohio. It's October 1st. So stand by. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to be one of the speakers. Y'all find me on social media. Find Jen and follow them. We need more people like you in the world, Jen. If we have two of you, the world will be safe. So Diana says, I want to connect with people. Yes. So there's Diana. So Diana is saying that they would like to connect with people. So Diana, let us know. So we'll come on the show. Sign up. And let's make this happen. So Diana is on LinkedIn. So Diana, find Jen, connect with Jen. Find Carla, connect with Carla. Jasmine, if you're still there, find Jen and Carla and Diana. Connect. Let's all connect. Make it a big, safe world for our kids because they're coming.
Yeah.
Jen, it has been my pleasure.
Really. Mine too. Thank you so much.
I never know where these shows are going to go. Sometimes I cry, sometimes I laugh, sometimes, I'm goofy, but it's very serious topics. And as long as there are people on LinkedIn, I'm never going to stop because I've had a guest every week for about a month now. So, and I know the last person said they didn't get an opening till October. So people actually want to come and talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm here. So Jen, thank you so much. What will you say to your younger self today, Jen?
Whew. Well, my younger self, I would tell that kid, boy, I tell that kid actually that they're pretty smart and to keep it together. It's going to be okay. And that they're one hell of a survivor.
So good, so good, so good. So I need you to come on my Pride Corner podcast, okay? Because that's when you're gonna. I know, as you know, we haven't really gone into who are you and what's number and how, all of that, none of that, because this is purely about the workplace. And you came and you delivered today. So thank you so much.
You are welcome.
If you don't have the link, I'll share with you when I connect with you on the flip side. But you have been amazing. Thank you all so much for joining us, Carla, Diana, Jasmine. Maybe they already left. And on TikTok, thank you so much for the likes. Thank you, Matthew, Charlie. Somebody called yesterday, just joined. All right, yesterday. Welcome to today. Let's just keep it rolling. Love it. Loyal King, thank you so much. A bunch of people joined us today. I'll see you next Wednesday at 1:00 in the afternoon, Central Standard Time, on Queer Wednesday Wisdom. And if you'd like to join the virtual watch party for practice party for my TEDx talk, just type it in the comment section. Just let me know. I'll make sure that I send you the link. We are going to do our first rendition on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Central next week. So stand by for that. Otherwise, peace, love, and so bye. Bye, Jen. This was so good.
Thanks.
Yes.
I had a great time. Thank you.
Me too. Bye, honey.
Bye.